worth it. We are going to try and play this a bit differently next time.
Well, let's go into game number 2 and see if they will play a little bit differently here, as the Battleground has been chosen for our second game in the Best of 5 series. Team Liquid picking Towers of Doom. This was a Team Liquid special last season, and it seemed to continue to go their roots and go back to it, even with their 2 members.
Yeah, Towers is always a fun one. That's definitely... A lot of the maps have changed slightly, not too much, since we had, of course, those big gameplay updates. But Towers is always a fun map.
Yeah.
It's always a map that goes a little bit more towards the late game, and we've seen teams that are completely willing to give up the early game and just say, okay, guys, we need to scale into the late game. Once that we hold on, we can make the difference here. And then all of a sudden, come back swinging and start such a huge momentum swing that they can come back and turn a game where they were just basically down to a 5 or even 1 HP on the core. We've seen several of those. So these comebacks, that's something that's very unique to the map.
One of my favorite battlegrounds in Heroes of the Storm. A lot of close matches, as Kauter was just alluding to. Also, you get some odd picks that can work out on this battleground. Abathur is one that we've seen a lot in the past. But for Team Liquid, in particular, the Lost Vikings have even been first pick worthy for them in the past. Now, will the new Team Liquid play with the Vikings? When you have Hasselwabs, it's always a tasty option, but we'll see if they'll move in for that.
Abathur is really what I'm looking more towards than the Vikings. In this setup, I would be very surprised if we didn't see Abathur on the map, and I could even see it, as we saw in the series between Twigged and the Zealots earlier, as a ban.
Well, before we get started here, we're always looking for your thoughts about the matches and what you think is coming your way. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag HGC. Heroes Esports is the destination that you'll be going to, and we'll make sure to read them live on air and, of course, broadcast them during the matches. We love to hear what you're saying. Do you like the new Team Liquid? Do you think they're ready? Do you think game number 1 maybe you've been a little bit of a fluke or maybe a bit of an odd composition? Or are you loving the leftovers here on the left side who have showed up to play today?
For the leftovers, as they said, the goal has to be just don't drop into the Crucible.
Yeah.
I think that always be your number 1 goal if you made into the league. Just make sure, okay, no Crucible.
Get established.
Exactly. Establish yourself. And then at point you can, once that we have the season over, you can also participate in the roster apocalypse. You can search your roster a little bit. Do we maybe need to change out a player? Do we need to get someone new in on a certain position? So that's something that you can all of a sudden participate in. But overall, just getting the feel. Because one thing to play in the open division, it can be a lot of the open division teams have really tight practice schedules as well, but it's just nothing in comparison to what you have to pull off as a successful HGC team, where there's just way more pressure. You have to invest way more time into practice, into scrims, and into preparation for next week's matches. And also, of course, it can really be an issue for some players if they have to do it week after week after week after week. Always keep that focus. So that's something where there's still a gap between open division and HGC on the pro level, and that's something that you have to get used to if you're a new team pushing into the league.
I mean, let's just go ahead and paint some numbers right now. We have some time. I mean, baseline for most teams right now in HGC, you are practicing with your team 6 hours a day, and then you have your own Hero League practice.
Yeah, a lot of them actually even 9. So there's not, the way that Europe currently works is that there are 3 different scrim blocks, and you don't take not every team takes all 3 scrim blocks every day.
Sure.
But there's always 3 hours of scrimming, 1 hour break, then another 3 hours of scrimming, another hour of break time, and then another 3 hours. So most of the teams have that set up to an extent where they at least practice 5 hours to 6 hours a week. And then it depends on, do you fill all 3 slots for your team? Do you only fill 2 of those? But most teams at least practice 6 hours a day just for scrims and in preparation for the matches at the weekend.
Constantly trying to improve. Well, we'll be right back. We're going to go to a commercial break as we get something figured out in the background here. But we'll be right back with game number 2 between our 2 teams.
Without further ado, a rematch from BlizzCon 2016.
They go for the core! Fnatic!
The members of Fnatic back breezing about.
They've done it! They win the tournament!
Fnatic is going to be your mid-season Brawl champion!
BlizzCon, your world champion, MVP Black!
No lower. Just drawing attention to yourself now.
So I think that Heroes of the Storm is quite unique in terms of games and especially MOBAs, and they innovated a lot. There's quite a few heroes that have very unique design that you cannot see anywhere else. For example, like Abatur, which is one of my favorite heroes. I think this is like a very good thing for heroes, that we have something that's unique and innovative.
Every team is completely new. Even though the core might have stayed the same, I think it's very hard to say who will be on top. There are some teams that are maybe more favored, like Dignitas or Fnatic.
I really like our team, and I think we have like tons of potential. A lot of people think that Dignitas got the better trade. You know, we're more of the underdogs in people's eyes, because going into BlizzCon, we were like rated as the #1, and everyone expected us to win.
I think looking at the other teams, they also have a lot of good players, and with a lot of hard work, they could definitely compete with us. But I do think that we feel like we have the best roster going into the next year for Europe.
Before I joined Zealots, they were already 4th place, but they lost Poik, which is a very good player, and it will be hard to replace, but they're missing a lot of things, like they didn't understand the meta or rotations, and I think there's really a lot of small things that I can explain to them, and it will improve their gameplay by a lot.
Mene and Bad Benny joined the team. We were looking at Remmer Baller and people with really long hair, but when we couldn't get those players, we just, like, you know, we got Mene. Probably the worst choice, but, you know, it'll do.
Having short hair is still something new for me. Maybe I will pick up some tricks from Breeze and the others.
I think Mene is just the mechanical god. Like, if you give him a hero that he likes to play, then he's just gonna carry alone. And Bad Benny is like really good strategically wise. He helps a lot with the shot calling and drafting, and he has a like great sense of the game.
For me, just switching from expert to Fnatic, it was super easy. I feel like they were so good at everything already, kind of, you know. So I just did my thing, or that's what I'm trying to do now, at least.
I think Poik is coming really well. He's definitely a rookie, so he doesn't have much experience, but he's definitely slotting in with the team well. He's got a really happy and jokey personality, so it's not hard for us to bond with him already. As for Wibby, we have a history with him already, so it wasn't too hard for him to slip back into kind of the Dignitas way. But I think both players are definitely slotting in very well with the new roster.
It's great to have a new beginning, and every team had the same idea basically, that they need a change. Maybe they were tired of how it went, maybe they were tired of some teammates, maybe they were tired of doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think the perfect Western Clash run is definitely like the point to look back to, like how good we were at that point and how we get back to the same point with the new roster.
Team's goal is to be the best team in the world, and I think we can achieve this year.
I'm hoping that I can show that my team and I have what it takes to compete with the best teams in Europe and internationally as well.
Even if we don't do it well in part 1, like we get into top spots, and there's like...
I think our main goal for 2018 is just to perform the best we can with the roster. I think we all have the dream to be the best team in the world.
I think 2018 will be like the hardest year so far, for sure.
And we're back getting ready for game number 2 as Team Liquid is taking on the Leftovers. Team Liquid gets a win in game number 1, but it wasn't as easy as you would think it would be.
Yeah, it was a close one.
Yeah.
That game could have ended either way, and it was an incredibly close call there. The core with 30% surviving on the side of Team Liquid and allowing them to move cross-map to finish the leftovers off. But yeah, that makes me excited for game number 2. I want to see if the Leftovers can turn things around and force a tie here, or if Team Liquid is gaining some momentum and starts to take the newcomers on.
Yep, let's go ahead and go into it. Game number 2 will be Towers of Doom as the battleground choice. For pick, we're going to have I believe it was the Leftovers getting their first pick.
Yes, Leftovers are going to have the first pick here and the first ban. And it's a question of Abathur once again to an extent. Is one of the teams committing to an Abathur ban? We saw Abathur banned out early on in the previous series, and this one is not going to be an exception, especially against Team Liquid on this map. You want to make that Abathur is not going to be part of the equation.
No Worm is going to be played here. Hanzo, will Leftovers take him? We did have Team Liquid grab him in the last game here. Leftovers has decided they want to move in and grab him right away, and so far the trends have continued between now 4 teams. Hanzo has been really important in the dress.
Yeah, at this point, Greymane again gets the priority over him, and Liquid already eliminating Genji can now drop Hanzo if they want. Banning Genji out definitely makes sure that there's not as much pressure on him. But Greymane can still be a huge obstacle, especially if you go for the throat, which we would expect here. You can put a lot of damage quite quickly on Hanzo, and since he has a very low hit point pool, that's extremely dangerous to him. So if Team Liquid decides to head into Hanzo, they need to be careful that Greymane doesn't get the opportunity to take him on.
Going into this, will we get double damage dealer? We had the Gul'dan and Hanzo grab for Team Liquid last time. Typically, you want to grab someone that can help control a space area because you have the altars. The 3 altar phase is always great. So having someone that can control that space is always wonderful. Team Liquid actually forgoes Hanzo, moves into Arthas, and grabs Malfurion.
Yeah, so Mal already taken. And this is again, with Arthas already having the slows and also the Howling Blast, it makes it easier for Malfurion to simply move in and drop the roots as well and lock the target down. And Malf can be quite strong here. There's also a couple other heroes that we have seen on Towers of Doom in particular that we still have to watch out for. Tracer, for example, has always been a hero that is oftentimes picked, so I would not push it past the 2 teams that one of them is going to come in with that. Hanzo can be a pick later on, but again, I don't think we're going to see the same priority on Hanzo with the teams that we have seen before. He's going to make his appearances, but he's not necessarily always that first pick material where you feel like you have to grab him immediately or you won't get a chance.
And our Dahaka is back in the mix here, as Leftovers will be grabbing the Dahaka. He's kind of fallen off a little bit. Lane Bully is kind of getting a little bit more prominent, has been difficult for him to manage. In the past it was Illidan, but now Sonya and Malthael do very well against him, both in terms of wave clear and bullying him out, making sure that he's burning that essence so he can't bring it to a fight, which he normally wants to have a good stack on whenever he burrows in to go in for the engage later on. So Dahaka being picked up, Leftovers trying to show that maybe Dahaka hasn't fallen out of the meta yet.
Yeah, we're going to see Dahaka, maybe. He hasn't fallen completely out of the meta.
The global's still too good.
Globals will not fall out of the meta anytime soon. They might, depending on the hero, become a little bit more situational, but the bigger the map, the more value they're going to get for you. So Dahaka, False Stat, ETC with stage dive, like all the globals that we have, right wing as well, are always going to have a bit of a point there. Li Mingban, DAB, he definitely performed on the last map. So right now, Liquid is just saying, I don't think we need more of this.
Not a fan.
Yeah, not a fan of that. Better safe than sorry. Hanzo is still being banned out here.
And again.
Yeah, there we have Gul'dan and ETC. So Arthas ETC together with Malfurion. And as I said when we started into the day, Arthas and ETC are definitely in the top 3 of the European tank choices right now. And you can see that mirrored here by Team Liquid's choice for their own composition. And you have so much lockdown here already. The Power Slide, Howling Blast, Malfurion's roots, the Entangling roots alone, it's just fantastic. And it helps Gul'dan to massive amounts of damage in, so that's a really, really solid setup for Team Liquid.
That's a terrifying front line if I'm on the opposing team. Mostly because it's Towers of Doom, and sapper control is very important, especially on that bottom side. If you're able to grab both cams, you can take down towers, control that space. When you have double tank, you can leave one on an altar on the bottom side while you take the rest of map control, and now they have that option with Malfurion backing them up with those heals, and as you mentioned, Gul'dan shelling away. I am terrified if I'm Leftovers of controlling that space, and I wonder how they're going to pull it off.
Yeah, now we have Chromie together with Muradin. So with the tank choices that we see for Team Liquid, Muradin was of course another great choice that was still open. And together with that, we have Chromie for the poke. Now, Chromie is already a hero that is pretty awesome when it comes just to setting down these traps, making sure that you don't get flanked too much, but also interrupting any kind of channel on those altars. And as long as you get a bit of damage in with Chromie, Greymane is going to be a happy panda since he can be the one to finish a target off.
5th pick coming in for Team Liquid. Looking like we need a little bit more damage. Someone that has some kill potential. Could be good for them here, especially with Gul'dan chilling one side. You don't normally want Gul'dan chasing kills. Finds himself out of position pretty often. Is there anyone that comes to mind right away for you, Caldor?
I've seen a couple of interesting picks for them, but we have Tracer, as I said before. She is pretty fantastic on that spot. And I have seen Tracer in like quite a few games in Towers of Doom overall. I mean, we said that at GCWC as well. So Tracer with this can be solid. But Tracer has a similar issue to what Hans would experience. She needs to be very careful of Greymane with this setup.
Sure.
If there's a bit of poke and then Greymane can get close, she can easily take her down. But this is one of the interesting things overall. Since the double support is starting to become a little less dominant, and not the norm anymore, Tracer players have also to adapt to change their playstyle a little bit. They can't be as aggressive as before. Especially Tassadar, from a meta perspective, has been prioritized downwards a lot, so you can't rely on those shields the entire time anymore. But Tracer can still be played and can have a huge impact on any game. It's just you can't be as aggressive as you were in the past.
For me, I am waiting to see Snitch play Tracer again. He was one of my favorites last year. So I would love to see some Tracer. So Snitch, if you're listening, plus RNG, give me a little bit of that Tracer gameplay later on. But as we continue to move forward here, Tracer is that option that we were asking for. We needed someone that could go in and get the kill when a big corruption hits or a Fel Flame, and Tracer with those and the Pulse Bomb hopefully being ready. It should be a relatively easy pick off here for Team Liquid, especially with the strong front line. I look over at this and I look at the comp that has been built for Team Liquid, and I think they are just good to go for this map.
It's going to be really interesting how the Leftovers are going to play it, because the Leftovers have one big advantage over Team Liquid. They have Dehaka as a global. And there's also a few arguments to be made for Greymane maybe to switch over into the Cursed Bullet. But as we're starting things up again, the Leftovers are currently down in the series by 1 game. Team Liquid winning Infernal Shrines. But here in Towers we have to the left Polyboss on Dehaka, Linked on Rhaegar, Lauba on Muradin, DAB on Greymane, and Blick Kidney on Chromie for the Leftovers.
Up 1-0 over their opponent, it is Team Liquid here on the right. Nurok will be showing off the Tracer gameplay. Ethernal will be your Arthas, as we're going to watch Hasuops playing in Gul'dan, Splendor playing Malfurion, and Sport Billy will be the ETC. Now for me, I'm watching these Saber cans. These are the important area that has going on this battleground, especially with the latest changes in mercenary camps. So I'll watch Leftovers and see how they control that space, as Team Liquid will be in a spot to bully their way in.
Yeah, for me personally, I really feel that outside of Tracer, Team Liquid has the easier to execute composition. So Tracer needs to be really careful. Again, if you adjust your playstyle a bit, even Malfurion as a solo healer here, you can still have an absolutely massive impact. And ETC can guard you as well, can help out. You have the Horrify if you get it over by your opponent. But if you think about what the Leftovers have, if they get a good drag, maybe a Stormbolt off against the target, Chromie lands a combo and Greymane goes in, that's basically a dead hero. So that blow-up potential for the Leftovers is pretty huge if they can execute it properly. It's just way harder to get that level of execution than what Team Liquid needs to have an impact with their own lineup, because we talked about that front line. ETC Arthas is insanely scary. It's also the perfect setup to allow Malfurion to set the roots down, and then all your damage dealers can capitalize on it. So Liquid definitely has a really, really scary setup.
Leftovers, realizing their opponents but 2 on the top side, are being aggressive on the Sappers. They take both of them here after the 1 spawn time that occurs. They grab the one on the left and then immediately go straight to the right. Tracer rotated down to the mid lane, but it was a little bit too late. Leftovers coming out with the big boy plays here, grabbing a couple of Sappers and pushing them in.
And they also get with the first tower, of course, a bit of a lead of experience here too. Now keep in mind that they still hold that global as well. That's something to keep an eye on for later on in the game. In the mid lane, Chromie going up against Tracer. Not quite the matchup that you see too much.
Yeah, not really a fan of it. When you have a Bronze Talons pack, you're in an okay spot, but that Pulse Bomb coming in at any point and you not having time out usually equals a dead Chromie, so she'll need to play safe there in the middle lane as Tracer lurks around in the bushes waiting for her kill.
Timeout is going to be really, really big for Chromie, so that is definitely something where Blick Kidney has to wait. Oh, there, Lauba already in trouble. And he goes down. The leader of the leftovers eliminated as Team Liquid went in and executed a combo, locked him into place, and then capitalized on it with Gul'dan's damage.
And I also like how Nurok played that. He knew that his ETC could follow up with the auto attack and finish it off. Noticing that Chromie rotated in from the middle to the bottom side, typically when someone is dying, a Chromie combo will come in the form of a Dragon's Breath into a Sandblast right on the target to try and pick somebody off. Tracer just backed up knowing that she could die to that combo and allowed Sport Billy to finish off the attack. Nice awareness by Nurok.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Team Liquid has picked up quite a bit of experience, and that already reflects in them in earlier level 6, so we will have them with earlier level 7 most likely as well. Top right gets interrupted, top left, Eternal moved in. Nurok helping out here too. They can't go in for the second interrupt, but there's still an altar to be fought over as the first two were handed in for an even exchange. So Arthas is still at the top. Dehaka could burrow in, does exactly that. They go for Malf, and there, wow, Splendor actually gets away out of the situation.
Well done. Root underneath himself and Sport Billy on the right side to keep the Dehaka away. They're going to go ahead and lose the altar, but they keep Malfurion alive. Ooh, Sport Billy comes in for the harassment at the last second. Arthas is pushed in the top lane, and he's actually rotating down. They want to fight.
Yeah, Lauber missed the Stormbolt against ETC, and that allowed Sport Billy to move in. So right now they get another one through, but there's another interrupt. And overall, Liquid, they have the level 7 talent now. Here comes Eternal. This is a bad situation for the leftovers. They look like they would definitely get a triple root is coming through. Greymane is down, and Chromie is gonna fall here after Rhaegar just bit the dust. The Wolfpack is dead. Chromie also dying, and they're actually still nipping on the heels of Podyboss on his Dehaka.
They're trying to body block. Is he staying a little bit too long, though? Needs to be careful. Splinter comes in, has the Moonfire, and there it is. A total of 4 members fall for leftovers. The altar goes to Team Liquid. They steal the Sappers. They just did everything right in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, a nice interrupt on the jump. Well done. Lauber also eliminated. 6 kills against 0. 4.5 minutes into the game. Team Liquid comes out swinging in game number 2 and absolutely bodies leftovers.
Yeah, Team Liquid comes out and says, okay, leftovers, we see you. No more Dragon Strike Hanzo. Here's a Tracer with a Pulse Bomb. Gets a few kills. 9-7. Team Liquid's about to grab the experience here on the Mercenary camp, get bottom lane pushing. They're on their way to level 10.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic play by Team Liquid right now. We talked about the strength of the composition, the lockdown that we have with Arthas, ETC, Malfurion, and they pull it off over and over again. Splendor earlier with a triple root, just destroying the leftovers. And Liquid, they pushed the top lane in with Arthas. They still were able to interrupt long enough for him to rotate back down. And then once that flank happened, there was just nothing for them to do anymore. And this was already a bit tricky when you're on eye level with the opponent. At this point, you're 2 levels behind on Towers of Doom. That's gonna hurt a lot once level 10 is hit for Liquid, and that's gonna happen in just a few seconds.
Especially with how robust Team Liquid is here with the ETC and the Arthas. Chromie against Warriors on even footing is okay, but when you're 3 levels behind, you just don't have the damage output, and that means Greymane can't go in and get those clean kills. Chromie is gonna have to do something fishy here to get a kill or two, and they're gonna move into Temporal Loop as their choice here to try and get a reset or kill. They go in for it, looking at Hasuabs, he turns around, drops a Horrify, Big Root as well, and a Twilight Dream. Sport Billy starts making everyone dance here as Team Liquid is looking for a kill on DAB. Can they get it? No, but they find a Dehaka instead.
Dehaka down. I'm actually amazed that they only lost 1, but let's not forget this was a 4 versus 5. Because in the meantime, Eternal just simply said,
you didn't
have
to keep going, Caldor.
I'm going to go in, I'm going to get the altar at the top. So now we have them getting both of them, and then they turn towards the boss as well. Leftovers, I mean, they are trying to make that, as you said. They're trying to go the Temporal Loop. There was a bit of a Hail Mary move saying like, okay guys, we need to do something. Let's try and blow Gul'dan up. If we can make that work, then maybe we have a chance there. But now they are so far behind. And it's not only that the boss was taken together with the 2 altars, it's that Team Liquid doesn't even have to stop there. They simply can go and push any lane, take any camp, go for a bell tower. Like, they are in full control of this game.
You just said it all. I look at this and I'm like, all right, what can I talk about for leftovers to get them here in the game?
They need 10.
They need 10.
And even then it's rough.
They need a pick, and they need Team Liquid to screw up royally on a rotation. That's what it feels like right now. Team Liquid is in the lead, and this is the Team Liquid that I came in today expecting to see against Leftovers. This is them delivering. They are making a statement here in game number 2 against their opponents. But it is Towers of Doom. 1 or 2 picks, we talked about in the past. This is the map to find a comeback on.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The problem that I have with this is I expected this to be a bit more even at that point when it comes to experience. So right now, heading into a potential level 13 advantage for Team Liquid soon enough, I'm a bit afraid for Leftovers because, as we said, Chromie needs timeout against the setup with Tracer. They need a lot here. And the first thing, as you said, they need really a kill to gain some momentum here because at this point, Team Liquid is just showing off. And the Global could play a role as well for Leftovers, but they need time for that. Okay, here comes HGC. Great cleanse coming out, making sure that they get that. So that was really well done by Melf, utilizing those new talents.
Love to play with Sport Billy. No pressure whatsoever. Greyming can hit the Horrify. A cleanse will come out to help him. He is able to escape. Combos coming in from the Chromie working out. Lava, though, getting lower and lower with the Twilight Dream. He cannot jump away, and Murden falls. But Sport Billy, identifying that he got Temporal Root, turned around with the Power Slide and stopped Chromie's full combo, allowing him to survive.
Yeah, and also Splendor, immediately just throwing the regrowth out there and then using the Nature's Cure to make sure he gets that unstoppable, that cleanse frame on him. So that was fantastic because ETC dying there would have been a massive problem, and both of them played this extremely well, made sure it doesn't happen. So Melf, of course, doesn't have an actual cleanse anymore, but with Nature's Cure, Splendor just completely showed how you can still play around that and make sure that you get the same effect out. So well done by him. Leftovers, they lose more ground on the map. They are now down 8 kills. It's 9 against 1 kill overall. And when we're looking at the points on the core, they are down to 16 at this point. 2 levels behind. It's rough.
Some good news for Leftovers. They did get a kill, picking off Hostile up, so it gave a little bit of experience. Greymane was able to dive forward, so there is that kill potential still available with Go for the Throat, especially against a Tracer. But it's only 1 kill against 9, 36 to 16. A full 20 points ahead Team Liquid is, and they're looking to grab more. Working on the Sappers on the right side, a full talent advantage up. They have everything controlled on the battleground, and they can even peel off Arthas to keep pushing on that top lane.
Yeah, and let's not also forget, Team Liquid is one of the most experienced teams that we have in Heroes of the Storm. And that includes the 2 new members. Eternal has played at so many different teams, so many offline tournaments already. Like, this guy has so much experience, and he's playing this perfectly as well with his Arthas. He hasn't really the most flashy position in this game right now. He had a couple of really good moments earlier with that flank that he set up, but overall, he's just the guy that is dutifully performing his work for the team at that top lane. And right now, they're going for Pody Boss, and this is starting to become a little bit rough for the Haka once again. Boring away. It's out, actually. And in the meantime, down here at the bottom, Sport really finds himself in a bit more trouble than he probably expected.
Gets out with the cost of an isolation and his burrow. Greymane gets focused, big Horrify, and Sport Billy helps secure the kill. Nurok comes in and he's looking at Chromie. He wants to take her out if possible, but Laber getting rooted.
Arthas is killing the Haka in the meantime. We have that in the middle. The Haka is barely getting behind the gate, actually. Survives for now. That could have been the second kill in this situation. The end result is the same. Liquid grabs another altar, and there's still 1 on the map. 12 points on the core, and Leftovers, they are just losing ground.
5 more shots coming their way as the ult on the top gets picked off by Arthas. Hostile Ups goes for the channel. And now we will have Leftovers fall down to 7 points. Their life is getting close to expiring on this battleground of Towers of Doom. They need to take back this top 4 if possible and try to control the boss, which will be spawning pretty soon too. Team Liquid has all the tools at their disposal, and Leftovers, they gotta start going for more Hail Marys. I know they've thrown out a couple already, but 1 more, it looks like, may be the deal.
Yeah, 1 more into the breach, my friend. They're trying. Here comes the timeout. Mosh Pit is in. And here comes Team Liquid. They want to go for the kill once again. Here comes the cleanse. Lauba moving away. Chromie that falls first. We have Podipos in the backline. The Haka trying his best, but he's also in trouble. Lauba moving away. Hazorb still on the run. Heals come in. The Haka is down, and we have Team Liquid mercilessly moving towards the left side, dropping another bell tower. It is a rough game here for the Leftovers.
And it is. Only 1 lone tower stands for the Leftovers. Their last line of defense here in the middle, and Team Liquid is working on Sappers in the bottom to get that pushing, and they can choose if they would like to rotate the middle and clear it off, or they can wait out for the 3 altar phase that is about to spawn pretty soon for our teams. And defending all 3 of those is the tallest of tasks for leftovers.
Yes, especially when you're 3 levels behind and your opponent is holding a 16 talent map.
That it? Nah, no big deal.
Yeah, and there's also, I mean, this is a checkmate moment right there. The boss is also being attacked at this point, and what are you doing when you're the leftovers? Where do you go? They're trying to at least reclaim one of the bell towers at the top, but that doesn't even help them. They're moving in here for that potential fight. It's the only one they're going to get, but not even that is working out for them.
It's either contest boss or rush core, and they can't rush core here. They go for the fight drop straight on top of Tracer, but she gets the big recall, able to escape. A Stormbolt connects to Hakatung as well, but Nurok is able to get through and get a kill. Finally, he will fall, but it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Team Liquid, and they also secure the altar. Team Liquid goes up 2-0 in the series.
Looking very, very good here on the second map. Extremely clean, way better than on the first map, where they definitely struggled a bit against the leftovers and were close to losing the first map. But yeah, towers, great play by them. And it was their map choice as well. So they choose the map and they said, okay guys, let's put an end to this. Drop their opponent, well done, good draft, strong lineup, and now we have the leftovers down 2 maps already, which means 1 more win for Team Liquid is going to secure them the match victory.
And it feels like it all stems from the first control of that 3 altar phase. Having Arthas in the top lane, get an entire minion wave pushing forward, the delay tactics on the bottom side between ETC and of course the Gul'dan bringing in the corruption, slowing down the altar, so Eternal came in and got that huge flank, which really sets the tone for the rest of the game. Let's go ahead and get ready for game number 3. We'll be right back. This is the HGC.